Hello everyone and welcome back to another online lesson. I'm Sumitra Chetri, a second semester teacher trainee of Siliguri Tanai B.Ed colleges. I have already dealt with the topic that is Union Judiciary, also known as Supreme Court of India, and in that chart which I have prepared in my last video, I have covered the areas like its composition, the appointment of the judges, their tenure, their qualifications, and how the Supreme Court is independent from the control of executive and the legislature. So today I'm not going to teach you any new topic, but rather I'm going to continue with the same topic and will try to cover the remaining areas, and our main focus will be on the powers and functions of the Supreme Court and its area of jurisdiction. First of all, let us understand the term jurisdiction means. So what does the term jurisdiction literally means? So it is the authority, you can say, it is the power or authority given to some legal bodies like a court. For what? To administer justice or to give justice to the people and within the area or field of responsibility. So you understand, jurisdiction means the authority given to a court, like now we are discussing about the Supreme Court. So how the Supreme Court has the authority to give justice, how they perform. So this literally is known as the jurisdictions. So there are different types of jurisdictions, and it is mainly there are three. Those are, number one is original jurisdiction, number two is appellate jurisdiction, and number three is advisory jurisdictions. But apart from these three main jurisdictions, there are other functions which the Supreme Court enjoys, that are the powers of judicial review and so on. Now let us see how Supreme Court is armed extensively with its power that comes under the original jurisdictions. As you can see here, I wrote this is the first and foremost types of jurisdiction which the Supreme Court enjoys. So according to Article 131 of the Indian Constitutions, the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court that extends to those cases which are brought in the Supreme Court in the first instance. That is, those cases which are brought in the Supreme Court for the first time, those cases comes under the category of original jurisdictions of Supreme Court. Now let us see here what are the types of cases that are involved under the original jurisdiction. So the first and foremost types is center-state disputes. That means when there will be any disputes arises between the union government, that is the central government, and the state government, or between the union and the state. So those disputes are brought for the first time in the Supreme Court under the original jurisdictions, which the Article 131 gives the area or extends its area. Now, next is the interstate disputes. Now, if there is any cases arising out of the, you can say among different states, like we have witnessed so many cases among the states regarding, most of them are regarding the water disputes. And to give a suitable example, I must say that as you all must heard that there is always a dispute regarding the Kaveri water, that the Kaveri river water disputes, it has been since years among the states of Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry. For what? For equal share of water. They all want the equal share of the river water. So that's why time to time frequent disputes has always been arises, and where these disputes can be solved, it can be solved only in the Supreme Court, and those cases comes under the area of original jurisdictions. Now let us come to the third, that is number C, is disputes regarding fundamental rights. This is very important. So remember, if there are any disputes regarding the fundamental rights, then any citizens like you and us, if there is any situations or disputes which has been regarding our fundamental rights, then we have right to move to the Supreme Court or file an appeal. And also that why Supreme Court? Because Supreme Court has a power to issue order or writs if there is any violations of constitutions. Now let's move on to the fourth point, that is the if there is any disputes arising during the elections of the president and vice president. As you can see here, let me explain you. I was saying that if there is no any clear-cut majority of vote during the elections of president and vice president, then in such cases the verdict of Supreme Court is always considered to be final. Now let's move on to number 2, that is appellate jurisdictions. So under these jurisdictions, what are the cases that are brought? Now remember, under the appellate jurisdictions, only those cases which can be brought to the Supreme Court, those are made only through an appeal. So those categories of cases which are brought to Supreme Court by an appeal comes under the appellate jurisdictions. Now let us see what are the types of cases that comes under the appellate jurisdictions. Those are, number A is the appeal that are made in constitutional matters or cases. So only those cases where the high courts or any subordinate courts think that in those cases the interpretation of constitution is required, then those cases are transferred to the Supreme Court through an appeal by the subordinate court. Number B is the appeal made in civil matters or cases. Now, if there are any matters related to civil cases, and in the opinion of High Court, if they thought that those cases needs to be answered by the Supreme Court, then those matters are again made appeal or filed cases to the Supreme Court by the subordinate or High Court. Now, number C is appeal made in criminal matters. Now, even the High Court can make an appeal to the Supreme Court in criminal matters, either through giving a certificate or without certificate too, if they think that there is questions of law and the interpretation of constitution is required in those criminal matters, then those cases are made an appeal to the Supreme Court. Now number D, the fourth type of cases is, it's very important, that is appeal by special leave. Now here you understand that according to Article 136, now Article 136 of Constitutions gives the power that Supreme Court can grant a special leave to such cases which are passed by the High Court or any subordinate court. They can give a special leave to appeal in the Supreme Court with those cases if Supreme Court wants. But there is also an exception to this. That is, if there is any judgment passed by the tribunals of armed forces or military forces, then those cases, in those cases, the Supreme Court don't have any power to give a special leave. Now, the third important type of jurisdictions which the Supreme Court enjoys is advisory jurisdictions. Now, what is this advisory jurisdictions? First of all, let us see, under Article 143 of the Constitutions, that is, the Article 143 confers the advisory jurisdiction to the Supreme Court. Now here, the Supreme, according to this, under these jurisdictions, I can say that the Supreme Court enjoys the authority to give advice. That means now Supreme Court gives advice. On that, who seek advice? The important is the President. The answer to this is President. The President seek advice of Supreme Court if it is required. Now, when there will be a questions of law or facts, or if there is any disputes arises due to some treaty or agreements, in those cases, the President may take advice of the Supreme Court, and the 5 judges bench will deals with it. But here it is important to note one thing is that though the President may seek advices, but it is not mandatory. That means the President is not bound to accept those advice which the Supreme Court has given to him. Now, the next power which the Supreme Court enjoys, apart from the original appellate and advisory jurisdiction, is power of judicial review. Now here you see this the word judicial review has not been enshrined in the constitutions, but this power has been used by Supreme Court, and in different articles, the powers has been explicitly conferred to the Supreme Court. Now here, exercising this power of judicial review, the Supreme Court can declare any laws, any ordinances or executive orders null and void if those laws are against the Constitution. Apart from the, apart from those powers and functions which I have already mentioned, there are other functions to which the Supreme Court enjoys, that are that the laws of Supreme Court is binding to all. That means the laws which the Supreme Court passes, every high court and subordinate court, whether it be a district court, session court, they have to follow those laws. Number B is only the Supreme Court has a power to interpret the constitutions. That means our constitutions, that is the Supreme Court which can interpret. No other court can interpret the constitutions. Remember this. Number C is the Supreme Court has power. It is empowered to transfer to itself all the cases that are pending in the High Court or subordinate court. So it has power to transfer those pending cases to itself. And number D is Supreme Court has a right. Now remember, only Supreme Court has right to review and revise its own judgment. Means once the judgment has been passed, but if Supreme Court feels that it is against the interest of the citizens, then they can review and revise their own judgment. So these are the overall powers and functions which the Supreme Court enjoys under the constitutions, and I hope my little effort to bring into light about the information of Supreme Court will be helpful for covering your syllabus. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching my video.